Welcome, everyone, to Super Switch Headz, the premier Nintendo podcast in all of the internet. My name is Matthew Stoner.
My name is Patrick Nicely.
My name is David Howe, and boy, oh boy, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest on tonight's episode. Returning to the podcast, Becky Rodriguez has joined us. How's it going, Becky?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me on.
Of course.
Yeah, Becky, thank you for being here. You're here to talk about Kirby and the Forgotten Land. It's out. What a wholesome, chill game. That'll be the main purpose of today's episode, the main segment, if you will. On top of that, in the news, we also have some Dragalia Lost is shutting down. Zelda of Ocarina of Time got a PC port. Some weird Discord integration for Switch by some Python script on GitHub. And then some Steam Deck news too about upcoming Q2 sales are opening soon. Reservations are opening soon. That's the word.
Hell yeah.
Before we get started, how y'all doing?
Pretty good. I don't know if you guys watched the Oscars last night. That was quite a show. That's all anybody's been talking about today. So that was at least entertaining to watch. Did you guys watch that last night?
No.
Yeah.
No, I didn't either, but it's hard to avoid hearing about it.
Only video game fans here on Super Switch Headz. No,
Yeah.
no movies. Movies are a dead medium.
Thank you for saying that. I agree. Licorice Pizza is a bad movie. No, that's fine.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that later.
I missed it too, but only because I went to a concert and it was awesome.
Nice. Who'd you see?
I saw Daniel Rosen, and he was in Grizzly Bear, or still is.
Yeah.
And he was selling his record that isn't out yet, and he signed my record and everything. It's super sweet. It was a chill show. It was the first show I'd ever gone to at this venue, Antone's.
Oh yeah,
It's been around
Antone's
forever.
is cool. Yeah.
But I'd never gone. So it was a nice experience. No slaps.
No slaps.
Yeah.
Except when he slapped that pen on the record to sign it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or slap that bass guitar and play that music.
I can't wait. I've got the first show, my first post-pandemic concert I'm going to is in April, I'm pretty sure. So it's this month coming up. So I'm very excited for that. It's nice stuff is kind of coming back to normal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are you?
So nice.
How are you guys?
Yeah. I'm good over here. Kirby's been great. It's been chill. Me and a bunch of Meow Wolf heads are speculating about the new location. There's a Texas website that leaked that Meow Wolf is possibly opening a location in Grapevine, which is a suburb of Dallas Fort Worth area. It's going to be in a mall. So a bunch
At Grapevine Mills?
Yeah, Grapevine Mills. That's right.
Yeah. That's basically my hometown. It's South Lake and Grapevine.
The Grapevine Mills Mall is your hometown.
Yeah. Well, I know where they're probably putting it too, and it's where the old GameWorks used to be.
Well, that's an aquarium now.
Yeah, well, they'll probably fucking destroy that aquarium and put me
fuck
out.
fish.
Yeah.
Let's make it a fish. Fuck
Yeah. If it's a fish, fuck it.
Well, that's what I've been thinking about is like
Very
going. It's nice to have a Meow Wolf that could be close. It's supposed to open next year, so I'm a big fan. And as much as I am disappointed that it's in Dallas Fort Worth, I'm glad that it's close, and that'll be fun for a little bit.
Oh yeah, belt buckle of the Bible belt, baby.
Patrick, how you doing?
I'm doing fine. I don't know. I'm all right. I don't have
We're
much
not
to say.
attacking you.
Oh yeah, what? Get off my back, David and everybody. Jeez. I'm going out. I'm going out. No, I'm doing all right. I don't feel like I have much to report. I've mostly been just working on this game jam thing, which I guess I haven't talked about on the podcast, and now might be a good time. Everybody who was interested, I'm making a visual novel for a game jam, and should be posting it up shortly after this podcast goes out. And you can check that out on my itch page, which is pdyx.itch.io. So
nice. It's official.
I have a question about Game Jam. Is that when you like make a game within a certain amount of time.
Yeah, it's kind of like a 48-hour film festival, but for video games, and usually different time frame than 48 hours. But yeah,
you're tuckered from all the game writing.
I am tired, actually. I've been staying up late watching The Gilded Age. Has anybody heard of this show? I just got into
on
it
HBO.
Yeah,
I'm really into it. Is it good?
I don't know. I like it, but
Pitch it.
It's like,
guys, we only like video games here.
Yeah. Oh shit. No shit. Oh fuck.
It's
no.
Downton Abbey, but like America and like sort of new money versus old money, New York, and a little bit more like a little bit less like fancy people and a little bit more cutthroat like business people kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
Anyway, we should probably talk about other things.
Sure.
I'll move on. Yeah. So last week we did an episode on the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC Booster Course Pass. Oh my gosh, so long of a name now. That's got to be the longest DLC name in history, right? Maybe not.
I think there's probably some Dragon Quest XI DLC that's a little bit longer if you include the title.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Fair enough. Over on the Discord, we had a good conversation. Lots of people, but other Dylan brought up the Nintendo and their approach to quality of life, which makes you like appreciate things that we shouldn't even be cheering for, like the groups or folders and stuff like that.
We're very gaslit as Nintendo.
Yeah,
fans.
that's what. And I also kind of talked about some other things there too. But over on YouTube, we got a comment from Tommy who said they're here for the Steam Garden remixes and they really want a Banshee Boardwalk remake for Mario Kart. And then
I'd be into that.
On Facebook, a couple comments. Steve Essling said Mario Kart Switch Headz tournament win. And you pointed out we do play regularly on the Discord and have been, but also maybe we should do something more official, like a tournament. That would be fun.
Yeah, like an elimination thing.
Yeah.
Ooh, what's at stake?
What's the prize?
That's a surprise.
All right.
You get to be the new host of the podcast.
Yeah. And then also on Facebook, Vincent Goodwin also brought up Jingle All the Way because we got brought up again. Booster from Jingle All the Way.
Gotta do it.
All right. Well, we love hearing from our listeners and viewers, so please do send us a comment and maybe we'll share it like that. Also, we appreciate if you leave a review or share the podcast somewhere online. And always, we like it when you would like and subscribe on YouTube.
Yes. Please do like and subscribe. It's the easiest way for us to grow.
And we're going to talk about some video game news and rumors.
How's it going, everybody? What's up? It's David from the future here. You know the fucking drill. Okay, some shit happened. I'm here to report it, all right? Just a heads up. Everything's fine. Don't have to worry about the nukes. That was a false alarm. Anyway, PlayStation's dropping their Game Pass equivalent. They're talking about it. It's pretty expensive. And you gotta stream PS3 games. We'll surely talk about it next week, but I don't know. Doesn't seem like a great alternative to me. We'll talk more about it next week. And then also a little something called Breath of the Wild, the sequel, or whatever they're calling it. They came out with a video of some nature, basically saying that the game is delayed until spring of 2023, which, you know, nobody was thinking that wasn't going to happen, but it's a little disappointing, right? I mean, we'll be talking all about that next week as well. I just wanted to, I got to get the news to you, okay? And I'm from the future, so I know this shit, all right?
So, like Matthew mentioned at the top, Nintendo has announced that they are going to be shutting down a mobile game that you may have or may not have heard of. I think we've talked about it actually, this game, I feel like we did our mobile games and Nintendo based around the launch of this game.
That's right.
If I'm not mistaken.
With Brian Bonnet.
Approximately 3 years ago. So they're going to be shutting down Dragalia Lost, which was a new IP for a mobile game and is apparently going to be ending this summer in July. So I guess, I don't know, how does 3 years feel like an appropriate time to run a mobile game? What do y'all think about this? Do you think this means it was a failure? Do you think it means it was always kind of meant to be a, you know, they've shut down a few other games, right? Like in shorter amounts of time too, right? Like that Dr. Mario World game was only around for like what, a year and a half, 2 years.
Yeah, they killed Miitomo faster than Dragalia Lost. But I think Dragalia Lost like actually made them a decent amount of money. Dragalia Lost was always like a pretty good earner for them. But I guess in recent months, it's probably tapered off to the point where it's just, a mobile game like that, that's kind of RPG centric. It reminds me of that one that's kind of by the Chrono Cross guy that did the crossover with the Chrono Cross thing recently. Like at a mobile RPG like that, you have to kind of be constantly writing new
chapters,
whatever. Yeah, it's like you have to constantly be growing the game. So I'm sure they had a threshold that it hit, where they kind of killed it. But I mean, that's the mobile market for you. That's kind of what it's all about there.
And Nintendo has issued a takedown of a Super Mario 64 guidebook that had been put online. It was an old book released back in the mid 90s, I guess around the launch of the game, that had never came out in the West, was just released in Japan. And so I think some people were upset that like there's no way to really access this legally, like the same discussion we have about Nintendo taking down a lot of things like ROMs and stuff, where there's no way to pay Nintendo money to access this content, and they're just gating it off. So I think that's why it's been made the news, because it's just another situation where something cool that you could never have seen in America, and the only way to buy would be probably to buy hundreds of dollars, on eBay or something like that. Now you can't even look at scans of it now. Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a little website called archive.org that I'm sure will be able to help you out.
Yeah, I think the Internet Archive got a takedown notice in part too, but yeah, I'm sure there's somewhere you can find it.
DM me.
Yeah. Or I can find it. Actually, I went to kind of weird. There's people who do research on video game guides. So, I mean, even if it's in like a university type of database, they're going to be out there.
Yeah. This one was really cool too. It was like, there's some really unique art in this book. Like they had these kind of clay sculptures, like little clay sculpture dioramas of the Mario 64 levels. And that's what a lot of what was like making the rounds. So it's really confusing as to why they would be threatened by this going around, especially it's not sold anymore. I do think that at times Nintendo's legal department just kind of runs free and does their own thing. You know what I mean? And
they
just
pick fights. They pick fights with anybody.
I guess so. It's a weird kind of like don't fuck with me, because they, kind of like the new Batman movie, it's like they put up the bat signal and then crime just kind of goes down. It's like, I think that's what they're trying to strike fear into the hearts of just perfectly normal gamers.
Yes. And something that will undoubtedly be taken down anywhere it's hosted, that just got announced or came out, is an unofficial PC port of The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. With obviously lots of upgrades and mod capabilities and all kinds of cool stuff. I think they, got it up to like 60 frames per second and high def, all kinds of stuff. It looks really cool. And fans apparently are already working on all kinds of like things to make the textures look better and all sorts of stuff for this. Another thing that I'm sure won't be easy, or will be easy to find if you know where to look, but
I mean, they haven't taken down that Mario 64 port.
Oh, really?
Like the PC port of that. Yeah. I mean, there's like some kind of dubious legal justification for it staying around, right? Like the game is completely reprogrammed. It's like,
Gotcha.
What do you call that? Reverse engineered, right? The code,
it was like decompiled and then compiled again. Yeah,
right, exactly. And so it's like, technically, when you install this on your computer, you're building the whole thing up from scratch. You're not like downloading the game, and I think you even need a ROM of some nature to inject stuff into it, right?
If I build a game completely from scratch and create my own Mario sprite,
yeah,
still isn't legal, right? I mean, like,
well, right.
or they could say that's their character, right? So
right, and that's what's dubious about it is
right.
the intellectual property and the trademark is still being infringed, right? Regardless. I think the way they're getting away with it is it's not being sold. Obviously, no one's making money off of it. It's the same way that like ROM hacks, Nintendo kind of historically has never gone after ROM hacks, but they will go after fan games, right? And so it's kind of in a weird legal gray space. But I don't know. I think it's really awesome that this exists. And now that it's out, it's never going away. You know, you get it one way or another, right? And I think the team who did this also said they're working on like 20 more N64 games or something like that, right? Just making them kind of future-proofed in a way that could scale to whatever kind of operating system you have. So it's pretty cool stuff, if not a little ethically dubious.
Yeah, I think it was you, Matthew, who said like with the mod capabilities, that's the cool stuff, right? Like when somebody gonna drop, what'd you say, Termina into the game or something like that? Like put it right next to it.
Yeah, let's see some weird N64 in Ocarina of Time. Let's see some Blast Core models in
yes.
In Hyrule. Let's see some weird stuff.
I want to jump around as Mario in Hyrule Field. And, like do long jumps and shit.
Yeah. Let's do it. I think that's always fun. Like I think I was saying last time we talked about this is the best part about Skyrim mods are the ridiculous things that people do, like putting Macho Man Randy Savage as the dragon to say, oh yeah, multiple times over and over and over again. And that's what I want to see. I want to play Ocarina of Time as Macho Man Randy Savage.
As the dragon from Skyrim.
Yeah, as the dragon of Skyrim fighting other dragons of Skyrim. Also as Macho Man Randy Savage. How reductive can I be in this?
Yeah. I don't know. I like it. I can't wait to play it. Apparently if you can play this on the Steam Deck, and it supports gyro aiming as well. So it's cool to see like modern Zelda features being put back into Ocarina of Time.
That is cool.
Yeah.
Last week we talked about how the Wii and DSi shops were down. I think they might still be down. Is that the case? But the Nintendo has at least announced that they are undergoing maintenance and will provide an update at a later date. So I think that Matthew's guess about maybe some large like security issue was discovered or something, right?
It's gotta be.
And that's and they were hoping to quietly fix it.
Like you don't take something down that generates some form of income unless the thing you're taking down poses a greater risk to the incoming that you receive.
Yeah, or you just want to kill it like they're about to do with the 3DS shop.
Or encourage people not to use it so they forget about it. So you do kill it.
All right. Yeah, I'm just glad they said something because people were definitely getting worried, and it set a precedent as well for what they were inevitably going to do with their other digital stores. So it's good that people that actually made purchases can still access them at some nebulous point in the future.
And then another thing that we talked about at the top of the show is that a fan made a program to link your Discord and your Nintendo Switch and show what Switch game you're currently playing on Discord has been released. Use at your own risk, I guess, right? You can download it from GitHub. They have a post on Reddit. You can probably just Google it and find it. It's called NSO RPC. Who knows what, they're, I don't know. I don't know enough about it. I assume that there might be some risk of like, Nintendo seeing you're pulling your info from them and
right. And this is just basically to show in Discord what game you're currently playing on your Switch, like under your name, right? That's all it does.
I think so. Which you can do that on some consoles, right? Like other than just your PC. And so
I think PlayStation and Xbox both have Discord integration. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think so too. So cool if you could get it to work, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd be curious to see. I actually look at what people are playing sometimes,
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity. And yeah, Nintendo stuff would be awesome.
Yeah, it would be really nice if it was like a official way to do that, because I agree. I'm always curious what people are playing. I spend way too much time poking around on the friends list.
Yeah. But like you said, it's like the other ones are like officially sanctioned, and this is just some guy with all your Nintendo and Discord information, right?
Yeah.
It's a little spooky.
Yeah. So the things that are at risk is, I was reading through Reddit comments, and just because it bridges the gap between Nintendo and Discord, it's a Python script that you run, that it needs your NSO login to connect the two. And during that connection, it gathers, or it has the potential to gather, other things like your friend list. Now, whether it stores the friend list or uses that data in any way or passes the friend list off anywhere is, TBD, but always the risk there.
Yeah.
But it sure looks cool.
Fans fixing Nintendo's QOL problems for them, right?
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Well, I think we talked about this next news item a while back when this was kind of rumored, and it continues to be a rumor, but it is. There's been some evidence. I think it's Jeff Grubb who has said this, that the FIFA games are going to end. That is to say that the FIFA license is going to go away. There's some talk of this, I want to say maybe even like a year ago, or maybe like 9 months ago, something like that. I feel like we talked about this, but the EA Sports Football Club, or EA Sports FC, is going to be the new name of the game, is what Jeff Grubb said. And that FIFA 23, which presumably will come out at the end of this year, is going to be the last FIFA titled EA game. Maybe somebody else will pick up that license. Maybe not. We'll see.
What if it went to 2K?
Yeah. That'd be weird if there's a game called FIFA and it's different, Well,
that's like what happened with like the NFL licensing, right? Like it went away from 2K and EA bought the rights to it for Madden.
This is just kind of interesting because FIFA is just one of the biggest games, and I don't know that it matters. Like maybe EA is right to be like, is this really going to affect us that much? I don't know.
Yeah. It's not going to be like some guy goes into, GameStop and is like, can you give me the new FIFA game? And they're like, I don't understand what you mean. I'll be like, yeah, here you go.
That's funny.
Do you guys normally play FIFA? Because it's been a while for me.
I play FIFA.
Really.
Oh, really? Still
really
do?
Played it in a while.
Yeah, I play FIFA as like 20 minutes a couple times a week, just to like relax, and the easiest setting, and just pass the ball back and forth. It's very chill. I don't play it competitively at all.
You play it like you play Kirby and the Forgotten Land.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. Just suck up balls the whole time.
I didn't know you could do that in FIFA.
Yeah. Don't put that don't record that.
How about you play as Randy Savage?
My dream. Yeah. Don't tempt me.
Now you're speaking Matt's language.
This is interesting to me, just because what will EA do? Will they start negotiating with different organizations across the world?
Yeah,
so they'll get like the Premier League and all the big ones, but maybe not some of the smaller ones, and maybe they'll do MLS and in the region where it's the most popular. Because I wonder if like FIFA does all the contract negotiations, and then EA just like does all the video game development and less of the negotiations. But maybe they've been doing it for so long, EA has learned how to have those contract negotiations with the other leagues.
Yeah. Curious how it's going to change the makeup of the game, right?
Yeah. Would they say the name might be like EA Football Club?
Yeah, EA Sports Football Club. Or EAS. Yes. Just rolls off the tongue like FIFA.
EASFC. It's probably how you.
I don't know. I wish, for me personally, because I know like Latin American countries, really love soccer, and so do European countries. I mean, I can see why FIFA would have remained FIFA for such a long time. But if it was like Copa Mundial or something crazy, something like that, it would be a little bit more of a marketing strategy, like a better marketing strategy.
Yeah, they kind of make it bespoke for each territory they're releasing in, maybe like like Mario Strikers has a different name in Europe and here in Mexico and everything like that.
That's a fun idea. That's a really good idea.
I'd play it.
Let's all just play Mario Strikers instead. How about we just do that?
That's what I was going to do anyway. And then sort of a PSA, I believe, here is that the Steam Deck, the Valve has announced that the last set of the emails for the Q1 Steam Decks have gone out. And so starting very soon, I guess the week after this podcast comes out, we can expect the emails for the Q2 folks, which I think a lot of Switch heads are in.
Yeah.
Will start coming out.
Yeah. Let the great 3-month period of anxiety on seeing whether or not you have an email begin. But definitely keep an eye out, right? Because Q2 is a big swath of the people who have pre-ordered. And so just, you want to make sure that you, I think they go out on Fridays, or it's like the beginning of the weekend, the emails, and then they usually get them shipped by Monday or something like that, or Tuesday or Wednesday. So it's like basically a lot more about to start going out, but they'll be put out week by week. So check those emails if you have one pre-ordered.
Nice. And then we're just going to talk a little bit about the new game Kirby and the Forgotten Land, which just came out here in the news section. We'll talk about some news related items, and then after the break we'll get into our take on all of this. Hopefully we can keep that a little separate. We'll see. But some fun things that happened this past week. I actually went into Target at the day they came out, and they had these fun Kirby coverings over the red balls that are out in front of Targets here in the US, which I guess must have happened all around North America. So that's pretty cool to see Kirby getting that kind of, I don't know, major mainstream visual. I don't know. I also heard a lot of people plotting about stealing them.
That would probably be pretty easy, right?
Yeah, I mean, presumably they did it, only during the day, but I don't know. You'd probably see people like wrestling these things, but maybe they had like tied off down at the bottom.
I've been playing it, right? So I thought there was some sort of Target Kirby partnership, and we were going to see Target ball mouth or whatever those names are.
They build a Target in the Waddle Dee town.
Yeah. Something.
And the game has been reviewing pretty well, actually. It's got an 85 on Metacritic right now, which is pretty good. So scores above and below that, obviously, depending on the publication, but being pretty well received and selling pretty well as well. We'll see, obviously, but all we have right now, I think, are the UK numbers. And in at least in terms of launch, I think it's the biggest Kirby launch and that sort of thing. And we'll see as it goes on. And then I also wanted to point this out because I think this is really interesting. Over on the Nintendo website, they do this every once in a while. They do an Ask the Developer. That's what they call it for these games that come out. And they have, it's been coming out the last several days. And it's really actually some interesting stuff that might lead us to some good discussion. Some of the discussion about Kirby making the transition to 3D. And in theory, in my head, I'm like, well, what's the big deal? But then they explained some of their concerns. And I'm like, oh, that does make a little more sense about, like, since he's just a big pink ball, being able to tell which direction you're facing and that sort of thing were some unique problems that they had to kind of think through. I think there's a lot of other little things on here. Go ahead.
There's some really interesting stuff in that interview just about, because this is like, out of all the big Nintendo properties, this is the only one that's really remained 2D that I can think of. Except for maybe Box Boy, which is also a HAL game, right? Like technically a Kirby character. But they had there's like lots of little cheats going on in this game that they use, right? So it's like there's sort of like a very subtle lock-on system that you would never really notice, or they basically made it to where if from your camera angle, it looks like you would have hit it, even if your projectile is not technically hitting the target, it will hit the target just based on like feel, right? So it's clearly a lot of time was spent in testing to get that stuff down, and especially after GDC, which just happened this past week, and they did like a big talk. I don't think this was part of GDC, but it was like kind of timed out really similarly, and it reminded me of that kind of Breath of the Wild talk that they did at GDC, right? Just hearing all these like little tricks in the development tray was really interesting to see. I really enjoyed that.
I agree. I do suggest if you're interested in that, checking it out, because like they talk about why they chose the different camera angles they did, and little things like you're saying, like when you get close to the ground and you jump again, it forces Kirby to land. Little things they did to make it feel better.
Yeah.
When you read about it, you realize how much can go into something like this. I think that's it then for the news section. And we're going to talk all about this game and how, our thoughts and feelings on it after the break. All right, we are back, and this week we are talking about Kirby and the Forgotten Land, the new Switch game featuring Kirby in 3D. Just came out on March 25th, and so we've had a weekend to play it here, and we're going to talk all about it. So just sort of big picture, how are we feeling about this game? Any sort of opening thoughts? Like it, love it, don't like it? It's okay too.
Becky, you're our guest. What do you think about this game?
It's my first Kirby game, like, ever. I mean, I've tried Kirby games here and there, but like I've never invested a lot of my time in them. Right. So take this from someone who doesn't know anything about like, the cute little, Kirby things. Mm-hmm. So far so good. It's not, I'm used to, I guess Super Mario Galaxy is like the closest that it comes to what it reminds me of, on the level of cuteness. Because if you guys ever played it, there are these like cute little stars, and that's what I get from it. Just all around cuteness, and very wholesome game so far. And the levels are, at first I was getting really frustrated with it because I thought it was going to be super easy. And so far I've come to find that there's just a lot more involved than just like, I guess, clearing a level. So maybe we can get into that, but so far so good. I don't hate it.
A ringing endorsement from Becky Rodriguez. I'm really enjoying it a lot. I don't want to jump the gun or anything, but it's like, it might be my favorite Kirby game, or definitely one of the best ones I've played. I think the thing that I like most about it is that it feels fresh. It's clearly got this rejuvenated kind of energy to it. That's been a big complaint about the Kirby franchise for the past 30 years, is that every game kind of feels like the very first game they ever made for the Game Boy, right? And so what I like about this is kind of something that we have been talking about in what we talked about, like our F-Zero episode, right? Is like, they've done enough to bring this into the modern age without losing the identity of what the series is, right? It really just feels like you're playing a 2D Kirby game in 3D, which, to some people, I think that's a little disappointing. I think they wanted a bit more of a shakeup. But to me, I think it's working really great. I think gameplay-wise, it feels super fun. And you're right, it's not a hard game at all, right? But it reminds me in a lot of ways of Kirby's Epic Yarn, where, that was a game where you like literally couldn't die, right? But the stakes were in like how optimally you beat the game, right? It's like there's all these kind of like little optional objectives for you to beat. And so it's like it kind of gets to that like completionist itch a little bit. And then also it's like the time trial stuff is like, that's where the challenge of the game comes in. And that's where like it kind of feels the most satisfying, I think, to play. And there's definitely some crazy lore implications to this game that we'll get into later, but off the cuff, definitely really enjoying this game quite a bit, and having a blast.
Yeah, me too. I'm having a great time with this. It is a wonderful game to play outside of like Horizon, which is like hardcore third person action game, which is like really intense. And this game is really chill and super easy, and the levels are really big, so it's easy just to like walk around and explore at your own leisure. And it's also quite a bit bigger in scope than I originally thought on that first world. As you build out Waddle Dee Town and you get new buildings and you get new power ups and upgrade your power ups over time. I didn't know anything about this game going into it on purpose because I wanted to be surprised by its scale, and I am surprised by its scale and how fun it is, and how the new power ups as you explore, find the new blueprints. I'm just surprised by them.
I don't want to repeat stuff y'all just said, but I agree with a lot of things that were just said, which is like that, you go back and you play Kirby's Adventure, which is the first game that had the copy ability, which you can play on NSO. And then you play Kirby Star Allies, which was the most recent mainline Kirby game before this. And I would feel like it's not exactly the same. And there's obviously graphical upgrades, but that same core gameplay was there in a way that didn't feel like it's super fresh. But this game feels like they've added, like they've kept all that, but then with mouthful mode and the 3D and the design of the levels and the extra challenges like you're talking about on a level and then beyond a level. And then also the way they've kind of integrated some typical Kirby things like the boss rush mode being in a Coliseum in Waddle Dee Town and kind of being sparked by events. I don't know how far y'all are, but
I just did my first Coliseum match today, the Meta Knight one.
Where you might not want to do that in like, Kirby Star Allies. It's like you beat the game. Do I really want to play boss rush mode where it doesn't feel, it just feels integrated. And I feel like they've kind of made the completionist aspect of you really get pulled out because of the way they've put all these elements in the game, which we can talk about more, but I just feel like y'all kind of pointed that out already, but I agree with it all. So yeah.
It's a super fun game. I'm like not really sure at what point I'm at right now. Like maybe where are we all at in the game? I'm on like the Ice Kingdom.
Me too.
Or whatever. Okay, you are too. Are we all around that point at the moment?
I think Patrick you're the furthest.
Yeah. So, and that's arguable, right? Because I've been playing it with my kid. I haven't played it by myself, which I keep telling myself I'm going to, but he likes to just barrel through levels and he's Kirby and I'm just getting popped and I'm like, nah, there's a thing there. And so we're kind of far, but we haven't done we've just done what we have to do to kind of progress. If you know what I mean, it's not like we're meticulously beating every challenge and unlocking every thing. It's more like, hey, I want that 3rd level sword upgrade. So let's go do 2 of those. And then I can go get that, and then we can go back to
You're budgeting for the upgrades you want.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. And then we only get, I don't know if this has happened to y'all, probably not, because you're probably playing it the way I would if it was just me. But you have to have a certain amount of Waddle Dees to unlock a boss in each area, which I think is great and it's not an unreasonable amount. I would say like 2/3 of the time we just naturally do it. But then there's that 1/3 where it's like, hey, we have to go back and unlock or get a few more Waddle Dees. And usually it's just a few. So like that's,
I've not seen whatever animation stops you from being able to do that.
So like, this is kind of similar to, I mean, this whole game is kind of similar to 3D World, right? Which we can talk about as a comparison, and not in a way that feels like it's ripping it off at all, but just in terms of certain things. And that's one thing that's true of 3D World too, right? Like you had to get to the Bowser level on each world. You have to have a certain amount of pixies or whatever.
I think it's green stars.
Right? Yeah, whatever it is, right? Like, and that kind of stopped him from wanting to play that game because I think is like we have to go back and redo the levels. But for some reason, this isn't feel as it, because we would get to a point where it'd be like we have to get 30 more green stars or whatever, and he'd be like, I don't want to go do that. But this has usually just been naturally just a few, and that feels like doable to him. So
it is funny having your Waddle Dees Pikmin the thing down. You know, you put them up and then just like a bunch of them beating the walls until their bodies take it down.
Yeah,
that's pretty funny. Yeah. So how many areas past the ice area are you? There are areas past the ice area, right? Or is that the last one?
I'm in the area past the ice area.
Okay, so there is at least
areas past that. I will say.
Okay. You don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, and I don't know how many there are in total. I'm kind of curious. I almost looked it up, but I have not. So
yeah,
I actually had like a bet with my son because it feels like you get to a point in a kind of a traditional Kirby way, right? Like where you think you've beaten the game, kind of an early boss type situation. And he's like, this is the last one. And I'm like, this is not the last one. You know what I mean? And he was like, it is. And I'm like, what do you want to bet? You know?
Got to introduce your son to gambling early. You know?
Yeah. Like, how much money do you have in your piggy bank?
Motherfucker.
For me, one of the things I'd love to talk about in terms of the gameplay is just the mouthful mode, because I think mouthful mode is what really instills this game with a lot of charm. I mean, without it would still probably be pretty fun to do these copy abilities in 3D. But that's where, for my money, a lot of the joy in this game comes from, is sort of the new ways to interact and these new things you can do. Do y'all agree, or do you think that? I mean, I just feel like that mixes up the gameplay in a way that's really great.
Yeah, you mean it is pretty fun to not only suck up a sword enemy to get a sword, but also a vending machine to become a vending machine. Yeah. I think that nature of like playfulness of how the mouthful mode that you turn into like a traffic cone really enhances the gameplay. It makes it like really fun. As like, of course, when Kirby sucks up a traffic cone, it's going to be something ridiculous, but he can if he wants. I agree.
Yeah. I'm not here to police Kirby on what he can and cannot put in his mouth.
Yeah, he can suck whatever he wants. It's fine.
Yeah. It's a free. I don't know what the world is called that he's in. I forget.
He's in a forgotten land.
Yeah, that's what it is.
He's from Popstar Planet, or so. That's pretty much all I know about Kirby.
Yeah.
Do whatever the hell he wants.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that it's not quite like Odyssey level of freedom, right? Like in what you can do and that sort of thing, and which thing you choose to do, but like it does create, and not that they're hard puzzles or whatever, but this sort of sense of discovery of like, oh, if I'm the traffic cone, I could do that, and that continues throughout the game in some fun ways that I have just recently done.
Yeah, I mean, just speaking on mouthful mode in particular, I was kind of worried that it would do the Mario Galaxy thing of like, I'm going to introduce you to a gimmick for this level, and it's only going to be for this level, and you'll just do it once, and that's it, right? And there are some that are kind of like that, but I think it's mitigated, by the fact that that's just not true. There are like multiple levels where you get the same items that you can mouthful on and use them within the normal stages, but then also having every one of the mouthful mode abilities be their own little challenge, with the Treasure Road course, I think they're called. Like, I love having those come back, right? Because then it's like, oh, like the fucking light bulb was super fun, but that level was like kind of easy, you know what I mean? Like, it was hard with the enemies coming up and you had to decide when to run and when to light and when to go in the dark, right? But then like the challenge course that you have where it's like all of a sudden like a maze and you have to figure out the right way to go. It's just like another creative application of that gameplay mechanic, right? It's not just doing the same thing again and trying to beat the best time. It's like using that thing that was already really creative in a new and even more creative way. So I think they just did a really good job with all that stuff. And I really like that implementation quite a bit.
Yeah. And a lot of them do come back, even like, for example, the light bulb.
Yeah.
And also something that kind of ties into mouthful mode, but just maybe the gameplay in general, is that there are a lot of alternate paths on these levels, and some of which you can only access with certain items, and it really creates this sense of discovery that's a lot of fun, where I am yelling at my son a lot to be like, slow down, because I think there's something around that corner,
But can I ask, since you've played a lot of, I mean, I don't know if all of you have, but since you're familiar with it, is it something that is inherent to Kirby games? Is it more of like, you do have to explore a little bit more? Is this just one of the first times that you've seen, Kirby in this like, 3D hidden, passageways? It's going to sound really dumb, but it kind of reminded me a little bit of this Diddy Kong Racing, whenever you'd like discover like an alternate track.
Yeah.
I mean, it was my racing game, but I know Mario, you guys are Mario Karters probably.
Hey, we love Diddy Kong Racing here.
Yeah, I love Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah. Which just movies we hate.
Yeah, it's the same sentiment for me, and I'm glad you mentioned that. And yes, I will agree, Mouthful is a lot of fun. It's a mechanic that I didn't even think, could be any, like, it could be really cute and not just fun, but cute, because you're able to see these like soda cans just kind of flying out of a machine that's pink. But yeah, I just, that sentiment of like finding these hidden spots. I don't know if that's something that Kirby games do, or
I mean, I feel like they've done it before, but it's always been
that way.
Yeah, it's inconsequential in the other games. It's just like nothing really matters when you find another path. I feel like in other Kirby games, maybe with the one exception being Epic Yarn, right? Like Epic Yarn really does, to me, feel like the most similar game to this, which is interesting because there's no copy mechanic in that game. But yeah, it definitely feels like more impactful in this game, right?
Yeah, and I think, like, for example, in like Star Allies, again, one of the more recent ones, you might be able to get into a room by discovering it through like blowing up some blocks or something, and there might be some extra puzzle pieces, but I never felt the same sense of wanting to be a completionist with that and get all the puzzle pieces that I do with this, because those little dopamine hits of like it popping up with the UI and being like, you found 2 of the 3 soda cans on top of the subway or whatever, what I mean? And also there's little check boxes and stuff like that. I think they've just integrated that stuff that makes it feel more rewarding to just, and also with it being in 3D, I feel like it's a little less like obvious, even though it's not hard to see these things. Sometimes you feel a lot more clever for being like, what if we go around this corner, than in a 2D game where there's just blocks, you know what I mean?
It really makes me want to explore every like nook and cranny, right? Which is not hard to do because this game is filled with invisible walls.
Pretty streamlined.
Yeah, it's definitely doesn't, it like wants you to explore, but only in the places they want you to explore.
Right. Like totally. Just today, me and my son spent a long time like bumping up against one invincible wall. We're like, are we sure we can't go up there? It kind of feels like you can, but you can't,
I wish that there was more of getting up on a thing that's already really high and then floating high and going back. You know what I mean? I wish there were more secrets like that, but I think they purposefully didn't do those. You know what I mean? That would be like game breaking or whatever, breaking the geometry or whatever. I think if they had hidden more like blue coins or something like that, like the really hard to find coins, like I think that would have been a really good implementation of that, just for the people who are going to like push the game engine as far as it can go, I guess, if you want to say it like that. I wish there had been a bit of that in this game for sure. I did want to talk about something that you kind of brought it up here about the kind of checkpoints and like the extra Waddle Dees you can get and the ones that are kind of like hidden. And it kind of comes back to like how I think this game was like really, really thoroughly game tested, right? Is that I find that almost every single level I get all but like one of the hidden Waddle Dees, right? Or I get all but one of the like I don't know what you would call them, because there's the hidden Waddle Dees and then there's ones that you have to unlock by like freeze this guy or whatever, right? And it's like you just like, oh well, I never would have gotten that, right? Yeah, but they do a really good job of like on your first playthrough just getting all but one, so you really want to go back and just get that last one, right? Or like in the challenges as well, in the treasure roads, I always find myself on my first or second playthrough of it beating it with like 1 second over. I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. And then it's like 1 second over. It's like, oh, okay, well, I clearly know like the one route to optimize to get under the score, right? They just do a really good job of like dragging you along and making you want to play more. And that's just stuff that you get through like thoroughly testing your game. You know what I mean?
It's a good call. That's kind of what I was trying to say, right? Like with the like comparison to 3D World, where my kid wanted to give up on that because it felt like too much, right? Like, you know, and if you did one of those challenges and you were like a minute short, you'd be like, there's no way I could make up that much time, right? But they did do a good job of figuring out roughly, you know, a good challenge point.
Yeah, I think the way that I think about it is they do a great balance of creating this FOMO, this fear of missing out. I'm going to go through all this level and I'm going to get most of the things, but I think I'm going to get everything, but I'm probably going to miss something. But it's not too difficult and it's respectful of my time that if I did miss a jump or I did miss a duck that I have to find to return the duck to its mom.
Ducks, dude.
Like I probably know where it is because it's not like Bowser's Fury where you were trying to return. Oh, was it one of the cats? Where they are
cats are the hardest part.
They're so far away. All these ducks, the ducklings are really close to the duck.
A mama duck.
Yeah, it could be a mama duck. I don't know. You never know.
Maybe it's a daddy duck. Yeah. Progressive game.
No, okay, those are called mallards, and they look different, Patrick. Okay, everybody knows this.
I'm not a duck.
More
scientist.
colorful plumage. Okay?
Yeah. What's Kirby? What is Kirby?
Yeah, I think
Kirby's a duck.
What is it really?
This is the ugly duckling.
Yeah.
You can do mouthful with the ducks, right?
Oh, I
no.
wish.
That would be amazing.
No,
Just be a pink duck.
Let's see that. This game is just so respectful of creating a sense of really easy challenge and respectful of your time, but also creating the sense of wonder and adventure. And it does a great balance of mixing between the two, where it's not too hard and it's not quite too easy. And it doesn't disrespect your time, but it doesn't completely make it too easy. It's a great balance.
Another way they do that too is with I love just this really basic little implementation, but like when you find the hidden Waddle Dees, in the notification, it'll pop up in the order that they are in the level. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so that is like a really helpful way to kind of just better understand where you missed one when you are going to go back and play it again, you know?
Yeah, because they very well could have been, as soon as you find it, you don't see it, you open up a menu to check like your list of objectives,
right.
But then they have a notification that you did this thing. And that's a small quality of life. That's a great call out.
I mean, you guys talk about balance and it does. I mean, all of the things that you've mentioned, I actually do feel that. But because since this is my first Kirby, you know, I went in with zero expectations. And I think I already told you this, David, before, but like, I can't continue playing it. Like, I don't know if it's just me, you know, no longer having this interest in this style of game. I don't feel that same FOMO. Maybe that's just like life in general. But I thought it was just real tiresome seeing like the same like celebratory sequences at the end of the levels, and then just having to when you have those blueprints, having to go into the blueprint, and then they're like, okay, well, you can upgrade this one. I'm like, okay, I know, and I don't want to have to like click something
Not
8
fair.
times. I'm sorry, it's just I think it's like the accessibility aspect of things. I'm sure I can like customize it, but at the same time, I'm maybe not. But it is my critique of it, and regardless of you know whether or not it's a fun time, like I think those small things kind of take me out of, and maybe it's just me. Like I have never loved craft mechanic in games, and that's really weird for me to say, but like I just don't really like. I like the fact that you can evolve these like weapons inside of Kirby. And that was surprising to me too. I didn't know Kirby was murderous. So so seeing Kirby, you know, have, you know, Ranger and like Gigant Sword and whatever else, like that was really fun to see. And obviously I just got the Coliseum. So I'm gonna try to, you know, see what's in there. And I don't know. Maybe it's just something that I need to kind of reflect on as a preference in gaming.
I think that's totally fair criticism, to be honest. And it's like, I think that this is a game I found myself in the same way. It's like, I'll play for a bit and then I'm just like, okay, well, I've done 3 levels now and I did some challenge courses. I'm going to take a little break. You know what I mean? And it's like, and I think a big thing for me is I also do get a bit tired having to go back to Waddle Dee Town, to be honest. Like, I thought Waddle Dee Town was going to be a lot more like engaging of a part of the game than it is, but really it's just like a bunch of menus that you're forced to sit through in order to like do things. You know what I mean? It reminds me very much of like Animal Crossing. It's like what really in any other game would be like 2 button presses. I now have to like listen to this bird monologue about his day for a while before I can like go to the thing that I want to do. You know what I mean? And it's like, and now I do think they do a good job. Like you can skip pretty much every single animation if you want, if you just mash plus, so they try to speed it up as much as possible, but it kind of comes with that territory of, like you were saying, accessibility for like younger players, right? Like they know the demographic of this game like is kids. And I think this is definitely a game made for kids. But it's, anybody can enjoy it. Right. And I'm certainly enjoying it, but it like kind of comes with the territory, right? It's like, even the hard mode in this game is like very easy.
Yeah. And if you want to make it extra hard and don't want to sit through some of that stuff, just blast through it because you can, because you don't need those upgrades. I mean, and it'll make it a little harder if you don't have them, and you don't have to do all those challenge areas because they're completely optional. You can just do the main levels and you don't have to get every Waddle Dee, you know what I mean? Like, and then maybe that doesn't appeal to you because it doesn't really appeal to me, but like, I want to do what I want to do, but it's just one thing that I've been doing it that way. So, but yeah, I guess I feel like some Nintendo games have even worse animations that are unskippable, but I do hear what you're saying. And I think, so in my mind, they're not as bad as certain other games, but yeah, they do have the same animation at the end of every level, and you do go back to Waddle, and they're like, you have a new upgrade of this one, especially if you don't go back for a while. You have an upgrade of this one, you have a new upgrade of this one. You have to sit through all those. But you can press B to just go right back to Waddle Dee Town. And then true. You can pop right back to where you are on the map, so you don't have to fly there at least. But then sometimes you want to go, I don't know, to like do a challenge again or something. And
well, I actually like flying around the overworld map because you can hold ZL and you move really fast, so zip, it's like you zip really fast and it's just so pretty. I think like the overworld is like gorgeous in this game, so that has not gotten old to me yet.
There are little hidden challenge areas and stuff and little hidden blue coins and stuff that make exploring the overworld map kind of fun at least once through. Yeah. That reminded me of something, but I lost track of it in my head, so I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, I think the upgrade abilities are all pretty fucking cool, though. I would say that all of the upgraded abilities are like worth getting, just because they look cooler than the normal effects, and like they all have like different effects as well. They're not like overpowered either. They're still pretty much the same kind of damage dealt, just in a different way. And so I think that's a pretty cool thing, except for sleep. Fuck sleep.
That's just death in certain places. There's some like trick levels with sleep actually too.
Yeah.
Have y'all know that if you hold the trigger and then push the direction pad, you do a nice big dodge roll?
Yeah.
Have y'all seen that? It's super. I really love that animation. Elden Ring. It is, and it actually is helpful on some of the later bosses too.
Yeah, because when you dodge, you do like a perfect dodge. It like slows down time or whatever. Right?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I haven't seen
that. If you're fighting the bosses, if you do a dodge, it'll go like.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice.
It's pretty cool.
And also, I learned this weekend when I was playing, you can emote Kirby if you press on the D-pad. You can like wave at the screen.
You press D-pad down. You just sit down,
plop,
get comfortable.
Right down.
Yeah.
I love just going get a power up, get a big sword, and go to the chair and just sit down.
Maybe just real briefly, we could talk about like combat in this, because Kirby games have always had boss fights, right? That's always kind of used the basic same mechanics. Those mechanics are still present here, but it does have this like weird kind of dodge roll thing, right? And it does kind of have like, my problem is, especially now that I've done the Coliseum and I've like done the boss rush, at least for that Meta Knight round, like the first one that you do, is like, yes, it's fun to like, it spices it up to like fight bosses with whatever copy ability you decide to bring in. But I find that you just do so much more damage if you just suck up stars and spit them back at them in normal mode, right? So
stars
I feel like
do a lot of damage in this game.
Yeah, you can suck up 2 at once and do double damage, And so it's like if you kind of time the suck right, which is what she said, you can. I'm sorry. You can do even more damage, and it's like just thwacking your sword around is not going to do the same amount of stuff. It just takes longer. So it's like I do kind of wish that the copy abilities were even stronger against bosses, because I just find like the most optimal way to beat them is as like standard Kirby, right?
I haven't tried doing it without any of the, I guess, the weapons. I mean, I have lost a hat, a thing, and accidentally, sucked up a star and, shot at the boss or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I guess my question for y'all was, so far, what is the hat? What is the
favorite hat?
Weapon hat you like?
Hashtag favorite hat. Whose is it?
Well, I have mostly been playing as Banana Waddle Dee.
Patrick has no idea what mouthful mode plays like, or like what.
I only have done
spear, right?
As for fun. He has let me. Do you want to do that one? Yeah, I kind of do.
Yeah, please.
Actually, I think it was Karasetta or somebody in our Discord said that playing as Banana Waddle Dee is actually pretty fun, and that is true. The only time it feels like a little bit of a bummer is when I'm like, dude, slow down, because there's all kinds of stuff I want to see. And getting popped around. But his moveset is actually pretty fun. And I know this isn't answering your question, but like his base moveset is pretty cool. And you have a nice little variety of attacks you can do. But my son's favorite Kirby ability is the tornado.
Tornado's fun. I like the spiky Katamari ball that you can be, that just sucks everything up. And I like just getting a chain of like 20 enemies and then just releasing them all at once. That's really satisfying. I think that might be my favorite. Or really, though, the answer is the gun, because it's just funny.
It's always the gun. And we have to Kirby say that because we're in Texas.
Yeah.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
That's mine.
Yeah.
The Ranger hat's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
Especially when it's evolved. You can see the little feather when he like, I guess it's feathers, right? Or
yeah, it's like some Victorian era headwear that he's wearing. Yeah.
I think I have a couple favorites. I think the Meta Knight sword is great. That one's really fun. But I also like the drill going under the ground. And then the evolved form of that is super fun.
The pencil one?
Yeah, I really like just drawing a square around the enemy and then just blasting it from the ground. But that was a mechanic I didn't learn until I watched an enemy do it. I didn't know you could do that.
I had to learn from like the Treasure Road level, because like you can't get it's like stuff in a cage. Yeah, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? And I just kept banging my head against it, and I was like, I can't get under it. And then I realized, you have to like draw around it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also like the boomerang. I think that's what that reminds me of. The scissor, what's it called?
Cutter.
The cutter.
Yeah.
That one actually taught me how to use it, as a floating weapon, I guess, because you can use it to, you
like charge it up and then move to another area and use the line to attack. Yeah, that's super fun.
Based on what Patrick was talking about, bandana, Weedledee. I played co-op when I started playing the game, so I got to see some of those moves, and I actually did play as Bandana Weedledee, so I got to do those little spear moves. I really did like playing as Bandana Weedledee too.
Yeah. It's got a nice moveset.
Maybe we can use that opportunity to talk about co-op a little bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we kind of touched on it a little bit there. But I mean, like,
before we go on, everyone say your least favorite power up on 3, including you. Listen to the podcast right now. I want you to audibly say it on 3. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Ice.
Sleep.
Bombs.
Ice is great. You can freeze
I like ice.
bosses.
When
You
you jump,
skate
you do a
around.
little twirl.
Yeah. Fuck you, Matt.
Sleep, clearly.
Well, I know sleep is the obvious one.
Yeah. No, you're right. I mean, so ice I thought was bad until I realized you just mash the button and then you do that like special.
Do that,
ability
yeah.
where you
Just the ice
you
armor.
slide down stuff. Yeah. I like that actually.
All right, thanks for letting me go down that path.
Yeah. Please comment on this video with what you said when Matt said 3. What did you say, Becky? Was your least favorite one?
I don't like the bombs.
Yeah, I
what
kind
it
of don't
is.
like the bombs either. Yeah.
I mean, I like that you can do like a chain bomb thing.
Yeah.
I mean, at least for now. But I don't know. And I guess you can kick it like a little soccer ball too, maybe.
They look like
is that
soccer
right?
balls. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't really use that much. So
Yeah, I don't either.
It's hard to control that one, I think. Yeah.
In 3D, really.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
But I think that's what this is great about this game is there's a variety of these, and you can always go back to the town and just grab the one you want.
Yeah.
But to the question about the co-op, yeah, I mean, I think the co-op in this game is kind of underwhelming.
It's the most disappointing part of the game for me.
It's really perfect for a parent young child situation, and other than that, I can't. Or somebody that's new to games, maybe, but even then, they might get frustrated. You kind of need your Kirby to be mindful of your bandana Waddle Dee, or else there. You know what I mean? Like, I think you need a good communication.
Yeah.
To make it ideal, and I think it's really just. I guess it's good. Like in some ways, I think we're playing on hard mode, and that's because of me. But some of it's too hard for him on hard mode. If I wasn't there, you know what I mean?
Wild mode? Is that what it's called?
Wild mode,
Yeah.
and then easy breezy or something like that is the other one. Yeah.
Another way we were cucked into thinking this was going to be a Breath of the Wild.
But yeah, it's
It's
a little disappointing for two, people who are used to playing games. I think,
Right.
To play co-op together, it's not as fun.
I just wish it was that it was more of a focus, right? Because I do think that this game could have worked really, really well if one person was like, I think this game would have been great if it was more like Super Mario 3D World, where it was 4-player and you all had the ability to copy and the camera would zoom out.
Right. And you were all
a bit
Kirby's,
if you were,
Kirby's.
Exactly. And they've done that in many games before, right? Where it's just different colored Kirby's or whatever, right? And it's like, so we know they've done it. I mean, obviously that presents some issues in a 3D environment, but it's like not like it hasn't been done a million times in other games, just again, look at Mario 3D World. Like they did it pretty great, Maybe that just presented too much of a challenge that they didn't want to have to deal with, right? But to me, it just feels like this game was designed as a single player game.
Totally.
And then they were like, oh, fuck, we should probably do something like that. And that's another way that it's similar to Mario Galaxy, right? Where it's this very asynchronous co-op.
Yeah. I think it's best to think of it as a 1-player game, and then the co-op is really just there if you need somebody to help you beat up a boss and you're not very good at it, or you want to play with your kid or whatever. Yeah.
Although it is really nice that they kept in the kissing mechanic in this.
Where you give whenever to your partner. Yeah.
Yeah. If your partner is low on health, you just give them a little kiss on the mouth and then they regain their health. It's really glad to see that make a return. Yeah.
Well, what about some of the non-gameplay aspects of this? Do we want to talk about story and lore? I mean, we've done like a whole episode on sort of Kirby retrospective where we kind of talked more about the big picture lore and all that kind of stuff, and it's weird.
Yeah. Very strange.
But this involves Kirby leaving Planet Popstar, which I don't know if that's happened much, if ever, in most of the mainline Kirby games.
He's gone to different planets, but never like a whole new dimension.
Yeah, like a new dimension, and presumably sort of a post-apocalyptic but still cheery human world, kind of, which is, I think, one of the things they talk about on that developer thing we talked about before the break. They talked about how they tried to make that not look too desolate, and I think they did a decent job of that, actually.
Yeah. But it brings up a lot of questions, doesn't it? It's
and there's
like
this made up language too. I don't know if y'all have noticed that. Like, and the song is in the made up language at the beginning.
Which just
of the
sounds
game.
Japanese, by the way.
Yeah, I just assumed it was Japanese, and I'm like, what is that language under the Japanese or under English? I was like, what is that? And then come to find out, they have made up you can actually read it or figure. I guess it's decipherable. It's like a legit made up language they made up. It's not just random symbols. So.
Doing Tolkien proud.
Yeah.
I just think it's really, I just am like constantly, something about the third dimension in this game has made this game feel much more sinister than any other Kirby game to me. Right. Like first of all, like whenever you unlock like a little gachapon ball that has some lore aspects in it, and it's talking about like the signage or whatever that you find, it just always is talking about these like big conglomerate corporations that like clearly ran the government of whatever world this was, right? And then they're all like spoken in the past tense, and they're like really pushing the past tense, like there was some sort of big cataclysmic event. I don't know, like I'm not that far in the game right now, I guess, but it's like I just feel like this game's gonna like pop off in a really fucked way at some point.
Kirby games tend to, right? Like the last boss is usually pretty disturbing.
And so I find that to be disturbing. And then also, this game just makes, I guess it's something about the third dimension. I just like feel bad murdering these creatures. You know what I mean? Like I just like feel every death that I incur on any other living being in this game. Like the game allows you to just murder sleeping dogs. You know what I mean?
I know.
Like there are dogs that are just sleeping, and it's like
happily lined up for this roller coaster, and I am just burning them.
Yeah, you're just fucking killing them. And it's like,
or they're enjoying a pleasant lunch at the mall food court, enjoying some cake.
Yeah.
Kill them all.
Yeah. And it just lets you kill them. And then like that to me just like feels like Kirby is really the enemy of this game, and the bad guy of this game, like he's just shown up in this world and is just like murdering innocent people. I don't know. It's just like, maybe, I don't know. And that's kind of what has always happened in the Kirby games, right? But maybe something about it being 3D versus 2D just hits different. Maybe I'm looking too much into it.
I mean, I can't speak to like the history of Kirby for obvious reasons. But I mean, they do tell you like what's going on with I call them the Weedledees, and I'm sorry, the Waddle-Doos. That's not right either.
The Whittle.
But the Doodle-Doos. Yeah. We know that they're not like, we know that they're, in trouble, right? We know they're not the bad guys. And so we immediately have the story of we need to save them. Cool, because the more we save, the more we get to build up their community. Okay, cool. That's a really good backstory. But then like David said, like there is some sinister elements to it because we're in this like post-apocalyptic, like The Last of Us style place. And we don't know why these other creatures are backing up these like dogs, right? These wild rabies dogs, probably.
Probably.
So I don't know, like I'm curious and I'm missing a lot, right? But I'm learning as I go because I really did like those hieroglyphs, whatever you want to call them, things.
Yeah.
And you get all these figurines of, whatever. I don't know if that's a thing too in 3D All-Stars. That's like something that's normal.
Yeah.
But you get to, I guess, kind of learn what Kirby's deal is. And yes, he does seem murderous as the person who's never played as Kirby before. He's sucking up a bunch of these objects and like barreling through things. Like, nobody's business.
It's really problematic. Yeah. There's like a heavy colonialist vibes, the whole Waddle Dee town as well. I think we can agree on that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, maybe it's this world's fault that they put cracks in the walls because if there's a crack in the wall, Kirby's gonna fucking pound through it.
He's gonna suck up a big pipe and then smash into it at high speeds.
You can't open a portal and take all the Waddle Dees and not expect Kirby to just wreck
true.
shop.
It's family.
Well, is there anything? I mean, there's not. It's not very heavy.
Okay, I have one lore question, which is the people, the things, the creatures from this world are small. They're like Kirby sized. Because if the car, the automobile is something they used to drive to, let's say they went to work in this world.
They're corporations.
Yeah, the car is small. And so that tells me that the people, whoever used to live here, were also like that small, tiny, same size as Kirby or Waddle Dees.
And they loved to shop.
Yeah, they did.
It's a consumerist-based society for sure. Yeah, very industrialized.
Yeah.
Reduce, reuse, and recycle, man. and it's like I keep thinking that if I suck up all the trash and just swallow it, that like it'll make the world a better place, but it never gives me anything. I just like suck up these cans, and it's like, all right, fuck you, I guess. It's like, all right, man, come on, give me an achievement or something.
Well, how about the music and the graphics, the sort of other aspects of this game, the visuals? The game looks really great, I think. Very, very good looking game. And the songs are stuck in my head. I don't know about y'all. Yep, that one in particular.
Yeah. I was actually pretty worried at the beginning of the game that would get fucking old, and it kind of has, but they do a good enough job like doing that refrain in different styles. Yeah. And a lot of the songs that aren't that song are really good in this game. I think they've done a good job with the music for sure.
Yeah.
Music's good, but it's not Breath of the Wild good. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. You need the plinky little piano. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry to say. I mean, if you really pay attention, like in Breath of the Wild, you can hear, I don't know, some of the more like really nice arrangements, and I can hear them here too.
Yeah.
But it's not like they all kind of meld together pretty nicely. But that's also not a good thing for me because yes, I like that melody too, but it doesn't get stuck in my head. It hasn't yet. So I don't know.
It's been stuck in my head all fucking day.
Yeah, I keep hearing the Perfect Strangers theme song. I said this on the Discord. It goes, standing tall on the wings of the rise and fall.
Say your favorite Perfect Strangers character on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ice.
Valky.
Sleepy. Sleep. I don't know what that is. But the opening song sounds a lot like a Beatles song from Rubber Soul as well. I made a tweet about it. Check that out. Follow me on Twitter, baby. Come on. But
God damn it, David.
But no, I think the music's all pretty good. The light bulb level theme is really great. It's kind of got this weird like kind of electro beat to it, which is cool.
Yeah, I wonder if the creation of the music for Kirby and the Forgotten Land is why they're doing the concert, in August or September, because they maybe spent a lot of money on these arrangements and put a lot of time into them, and maybe they really enjoyed them and they want to show them off a little bit more.
Yeah,
maybe the game doesn't show it off. It's the way that they want it to.
Graphics wise, this game is beautiful.
Yeah,
right. This game's gorgeous. I wish it had anti-aliasing like every first-party Switch game, but it does not. So it's got jaggy edges every once in a while, obviously. But I think for what it's doing, it looks great. Looks a lot better than any Pokemon game. Anyway, yeah. It looks
Breath
a lot
of the
better
Wild
than Tetris,
on this side, Pokemon on this side.
Yeah.
Kirby's somewhere in the middle.
I do really wish they were able to get this up to a solid 60 frames per second, though. I feel like the game definitely like you can really feel the jump to 30 frames per second because all the menus are 60 frames per second. You know what I mean? So it's like he'll be flying into the vortex and it's this like really smooth stuff. And then you start to play the game and it kind of just feels a little sluggier. I think the platforming would have felt a little bit better at 60. they're able to get that shit in Mario Odyssey and stuff like that, right? So I do kind of wish they were able to hit that. It's kind of one of these things where it's like, man, if there was a Switch Pro that would have been out by this point, feels like it was almost designed for that. You know what I mean? But they had to kind of make sacrifices at certain points. I got that feeling anyway.
I mean, I kind of feel like that's what happens with most handhelds. Like you have to think about whether or not it will explode in your hands or not, you know? And that's how I feel like if you try to max out, you know, whatever graphics, like it's not gonna, I mean, then again, you know, you could always put it in its dock and it'll be okay. But
yeah,
I don't know. Handheld for me, and that's part of the reason why I have a Switch. I actually like to play handheld.
Same.
Until like I get really frustrated and I'm like, okay, fine, I'll use a, you know, controller.
Yeah.
And get it that way. Or if I feel like being really lazy, like I mentioned, I played Phoenix Wright, I'll just kind of veg out and let it be in the dock and stuff. But I've done a little bit of both with the Kirby game. Handheld, not so much. I think it's been more, you know, in its dock on my big screen. So yes. And, you know, on that, to that end, like I would say, you know, seeing like the little feathers and the ranger hat and then like the, you know, tornado, hurricane, what is it called? I forget.
Tornado.
Yeah. I think it's just tornado. Yeah.
Just a whirlwind Kirby, whatever cute name it's called.
Whirling dervish Kirby.
Seeing all that, seeing all those details is great. I mean, I told you guys already, like, this is my first Kirby game, so
yeah.
It's I don't know if I'm gonna play the next one.
Right.
We'll see how this one goes. But yeah.
Well, I'd love to see them further evolve this concept, right? I mean, this is great. This feels like other Kirby games, and I think that Kirby has now had its Mario 64 moment. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's Mario Odyssey moment is like somewhere down the line, right? Or it's Breath of the Wild moment is like somewhere down the line. You know, it's like they've always been very safe with this franchise. So I definitely want to see how they evolve this concept. And, you know, not to say that I don't think they shouldn't make 2D Kirby's anymore. I think that they probably should. I mean, Kirby's always been a franchise that they've pumped out lots of games. They do a lot of experimentation with it. But they've always kept it to that kind of lane and experimented within that lane. So I don't know what's next for the franchise, but I'm definitely excited to see what the next 3D Kirby looks like as well. And yeah, I just love all the little weird realistic touches, right, that you get from this world too. Like the filament inside the light bulb inside Kirby's mouth looks like photorealistic. You know? Yeah. And like the rust on everything, and you know what I mean? It's just got this like weird level of detail that you usually don't get in like any other Kirby game, right? So I applaud them for that anyway. I think Hal has done a really good job with this.
Cool. I mean, is there anything else anybody wants to get in? I think we've done a pretty good job of talking about our impressions of it so far and that kind of thing.
I think that this game is a really good palate cleanser game. You know what I mean? Like we've talked about it a lot now, and it's like, you know, a lot of people are in a Discord, but like, oh, I'm going to hold off on this game. Right. And that's fine. And I don't think that this is like necessarily a must play on the Switch. Right. But I think if you're looking for an experience that is not too challenging, but it's just a very relaxing and cute and joyful game. Like if you've been playing a lot of like hardcore action games and you've been like going really hard on Elden Ring, or, you know, you've been doing X, Y, and Z, and you just kind of want a good game that you can just pick up and play a few levels and just like feel good. Like that's what this game is for me, right? Like I've been having a blast playing it this weekend, and I've probably played it more because I knew we were doing this episode than I would have if I had just bought the game without having a podcast. But, you know, I'm still pretty much fully planning on 100%ing this game. You know what I mean? This seems like a pretty easy game to 100%. And that's where like a lot of like the challenge and kind of post game would lie. Right. So I'm excited for that. And I think if you have that kind of expectation going into it, you'll enjoy this game quite a bit.
Yeah. I will add something, and it just came to mind when you're talking about, you know, you enjoying it and continuing to, you know, a palate cleanser. someone was talking about playing Smash Brothers, and it's not really a game that I really enjoy playing, but I know that is it HAL Laboratory that made one of them?
Yeah,
I'm not familiar.
They made the first one. Yeah. And Sakurai created Kirby and he created Smash as well. So the Kirby DNA is all in Smash for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, when I play the Kirby game, I can get that feel of it, like, and perhaps that's why I'm not, continuing playing as much as I would any other game. Like, I don't know. First one that comes to mind is like Cuphead. Like, I wanted to like finish Cuphead. But with this Kirby game, like I'm not all there. I'm not 100%. And it's possibly because it's just not my cup of tea. Maybe I need to sweeten it a little bit, like get in that frame of mind. Because I thought, with this post-apocalyptic lore, like I'd be like, yeah, gung-ho. It's gonna be scary. And Kirby is murdering people. So I don't know. Or not people.
Yeah. It's
creatures.
Totally mismatched for sure. Yeah.
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 Do y'all think this is worth the $60?
I see it going on sale.
Yeah. I would say this would be a no-brainer at 40, right? Which it inevitably will do some holiday deal where it gets down to 40. I would say, like, if you're like a little concerned about it, like, and again, I haven't played through the whole game, so it's like hard for me to know exactly like how much content is in this thing. But this feels like it would be a great price at 40. That having been said, I bought it for 60 and I don't regret my purchase at all. I'm having a great time with it. And yeah, like I said, I actually want to 100% this game where I don't get that feeling with a lot of other games.
Yeah. I might like this game the most of all of us. Yeah. Just based on the conversation. I think maybe it's just the game I needed right now too. Kind of like what you're talking about. Like I needed something that felt fun and not too challenging, but like also kind of encouraging me to 100% it in a way that I enjoy. And for me, it's definitely worth it because it's like I'm having a lot of fun playing it with my kid, and I think then I will probably play it on my own so that I can 100% it. And so definitely worth it for me. But I think having listened to this episode and hearing the range of opinions, I think that you'll know where you fall in on this.
Yeah. Yeah. Which head do you identify with today?
Yeah. Say it on 3. Everyone listen to the podcast. Say which head you agree with. 1, 2, 3.
Sleep.
David. Oh. I identify with myself.
Yeah. That's a good thing. Looking at just how long it takes to beat using howlongtobeat.com. It says main story is 8.5 hours, and completionist is 15.5 hours. Yeah. So I think for me, this is a great, like an incredible $40 game. I agree with that. But also I think it's a great $60 game. Just if you approach it with the idea that it's a joyful, chill, non-challenging game.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like all the times that I sometimes listen to lo-fi hip hop where I'm just like, yeah, I like this. This is really fun. I'm just gonna like do this to like keep it going, just enjoy whatever else I might be enjoying in life. It kind of reminds me of that.
It's digestible.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's a good call. Well, I think we did it. I think we talked about Kirby and the Forgotten Land. If there's anything that we said that sparked a thought that you have out there while listening to this, we'd love to hear it. What's your take on this game? Definitely let us know what you said on 3 for all those things.
Yeah, leave a comment for every one of those that you did.
Yeah. What's your mouthful?
Yeah.
The first one was favorite power. Second one was favorite perfect strangers.
Wait, don't say the rest of them. Make them have to go back and listen to it again.
We won't timestamp it though. All right, so I think we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk about all the other games that we've been playing recently.
Boyle.
All right, so I don't have a whole lot of new things to report. I've been playing more Smash and more Dandara, some Mario Kart 8. I did want to mention, I don't think I said this last time, but I went over to my cousin's house, and he's always trying to get me to play VR games. And he's thrown me into games which have been great, but like too much for me, like Half-Life Alyx and Super Hot and stuff. But he had me play Moss, and that was the first VR game where I sat there and was like, okay, I want to play more of this. And didn't feel overwhelmed. Yeah, partly because it's a platformer, right? And he was like, oh, you figured that out faster than me, watching me play some of it. And I'm like, oh, this feels intuitive. Whereas like some of the other stuff, I think I would need more. I think I need to play more games like Moss before I can play like Half-Life Alyx, if that makes sense. Like baby steps into that. But that game was beautiful and so cool. I really liked it.
Did you find yourself like trying to peer around the edges of some of the world, like
me as like the person with totally. I definitely would occasionally be like, I want to have a look around here. It's the game is like up my alley in a lot of different ways. Like cute mouse platformer, but like fantasy. I don't know. I liked it a lot.
Moss 2 comes out soon.
Yeah,
that'll be fun.
They should have called that game Mouse.
Ah.
Sorry, cut that out.
I'll go next. I have been playing Kirby, obviously. Halo Infinite, it's in a weird state with its fans because it's a online service, but they haven't put out new content a little bit. So user base is declining with season 2 starting in May. So I don't know. It's a weird place.
Did you ever play the campaign? Did we ever talk about that?
I'm not going to play it until co-op.
It's still not out. That's what I thought. Like, wasn't that going to come out in March?
Yeah.
I thought that was going to come out in March, though. Did it not?
May is when they said it would come out, and then they pushed it back till sometime in season 2, which will be anytime likely between May and July.
Okay. Well,
so it's in a weird state. But I think it's just like lots of mismanagement because even like the Halo has a new TV show that came out on Paramount Plus, and the new episodes was pretty good. It's good for a Halo TV show, but there was no cross promotion from the TV show to the game, and so that just shows to me like a lack of communication or lack of foresight or management.
Mismanagement. Yeah.
It's in a weird spot. But from all the rumors, maybe they'll have more content. But right now, like today, low user base, some weird desync issues. I don't know. It's weird. And I played it a couple times every week. So
maybe by the time co-op comes out, you'll be able to play it on your Steam Deck. Both Q2
with gyro controls.
Yeah, with gyro controls. I'll go next. I haven't really been playing much other than Kirby. I was kind of surprised. I'm usually the one who bloviates on in this section. But yeah, I mean, I've just been mainly playing Kirby and then a lot of Mario Kart. You know, I've been hanging out over at a friend's house, and they're still like super high on Mario Kart. I will say I've also been playing a lot of whenever I go over to Joe and Christina's house. Always play a lot of we play a lot of Mario Kart or Don't Drink and Drive. And then also they've become obsessed with Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics. So whenever I go over there, I bring my Switch, which in OLED, the OLED actually has a decent sized screen for Clubhouse Games 51 Worldwide Classics because you just set it on the table, right? And so I've been playing a lot of Moncala over there. I've been playing some backgammon. And actually, shout out to this guy Sawyer, who's always over at Joe and Christina's house. I played Moncala with him, and he said that it like unlocked all these memories of playing Moncala with his mom, and it made him reach out to his mom for the first time in like a couple of years. So,
holy shit!
Maybe I shouldn't have shared that on a podcast, but he shared it with me, so I'm sure he's fine. He's a comedian. He's a big boy. He can handle it.
I don't know. Don't use his wife's name. Don't say my mom.
Get your mom's name out your fucking mouth. Anyway, Becky, what have you been playing recently?
So the friend that I played the co-op with Kirby, like before we played Kirby, we played Uncharted, Drake's Fortune. Yeah, we were trying to finish it before watching the movie, and it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And I was playing most of it, and then we trade off. But it's fun. I'd never played any Uncharted. I mean, I think I tried to play once, and I just didn't get into it. But it's been fun. I don't have a PlayStation. That's why I'm going over and playing it.
Yeah.
And then on the Switch, I've been playing Majora's Mask on Nintendo Switch Online, Nintendo 64. And then before that, I mean, in between, I've been playing Donkey Kong Country. And it's been a while since I played that. So that's been fun.
The original one?
Yeah. Yes.
Amazing
stuff. The SNES, I think that's the one. I didn't play Diddy's
Diddy's Conquest is Donkey Kong Country too. Yeah.
I haven't played that one. But hopefully if I finish Donkey Kong Country, then I can move on to that one. And then finish Majora's Mask, which I'd never played Majora's Mask, and it's different, but also weird because I see like a lot of the same characters from like Ocarina of Time, and I still have an Ocarina, and I don't know, it's just like a sequel, but not really a sequel. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's a fever dream. That's what it is.
Yeah. So I'll finish those. I mean, obviously, I've been playing Kirby, and I'll get through Kirby, and maybe finally finish Half-Life Alyx now that you've mentioned it, because I never did. And then I mean, was the name of the game Moss?
Moss, like MOSS, like it grows on a rock. Like platformer might be my cup of tea. So it's pretty cool
for sure.
Well, I think that does it then, right? Thanks, Becky. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to us about Kirby today. Appreciate it.
Yes, it was my pleasure. Thanks for having me. It's an honor. I listen to y'all all the time. I try to engage as much as possible in the Discord. So hopefully if you see me around, you can wave or whatever, and I'll try to, start talking about video games. Because I mean, I do, like I said, I'll like pretty much, I'm a lurker. I mean, I like to see what people are playing, and curious about all that stuff. So
we'll all sign up for that sketchy Discord integration, so you can better and more easily see what we're all playing.
Okay.
Well, thanks. And thanks to MilkyWay.co, does our website, and thanks to Corduroy, who does our music. If you're looking for me, Patrick online, I am PDYX.
Hey, I'm Matthew on Twitter, MATHYOU.
I'm pretty much ever on the internet at Monolith Fiji. And what about you, Becky? Where can people find you online?
Well, I mostly go as Rebleep, REBLEEP, everywhere. Twitter, Instagram, Discord. Yeah.
Check her out. That's where you can find her. So you can find our show on social media at Super Switch Headz on Instagram and Facebook, at Switch Headz on Twitter. You can also find us online at switchheadz.com, and you can join our Discord, which we were just talking about, and our Facebook group in the links to the description of this video. Guys, what a time. What a savings. The world is getting back to normal. People are doing maskless Oscars and beating each other up on stage. We're just getting back to the normal bullshit of the world, man. Really hope that's how it trends from now on. I'm having a great time. So hopefully we'll be doing some in-person Switch Headz meetups sometime soon. So if you're in the Austin, Texas area and you're interested in doing some hangouts or something like that, make sure you join that Discord. Make sure you check out the meetups channel. I'm sure we'll be doing something soon, and then we'll all get COVID and stay inside for another 2 weeks. All right, everybody, that's going to do it for the episode. We love you guys. Stay safe out there. Make sure you tune in next week. It's going to be a great episode. But other than that, we love you very much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.